Brendan, what have you tried to work on, tried to stress to the players over the last few days since that defeat to Hearts?
Listen, clearly very disappointing performance and result for us, but just really about reinforcing the strengths of our game and the importance of playing to those strengths. And so it's been a good week for reflection, and but you do your talking on the pitch, and that's where we've done our work and look to bring that positivity into the game tomorrow.
When we spoke after the match, you spoke about the sort of a lack of consistency of mentality, perhaps a lack of ambition and drive in some of the players. How have they responded to that, and have they acknowledged there have been drop-offs?
No, listen, it's all in your results. I think it's pretty clear. I think also when you see the stages of the game when the tempo was up and down, that's about desire and mentality. I think, listen, the group are a fantastic group of players. It's not a slant on any individual. It's what's required at a big club. You know, when you prepare as well as they do, and if you can take that work rate and mentality, and you have to have that. A club like this here, it's about consistently bringing that to the game. Then that's part of finding out what it's like to play for Celtic. You know, you could have no drop off from that first whistle going. You have to have that intent and ambition and desire to win the game, and to do that brings your tempo of game up. And for us, the tempo, especially at the beginning of the game, was nowhere near the level that we would expect. So that's been our very frank, open conclusion on it, and we look to be better going forward.
That said, has it given you some clarity over the last couple of weeks about who you maybe would look to move on in the new year, and has that prompted conversations up the chain over the last few days in terms of what you will do now?
No, I've been very clear from when I come in, and obviously for me it was about an observation for this opening period, seeing players. Sadly, we've had players missing, which has been a challenge for us, but it's always provided opportunity for other players. But across the board, it's been a chance for me to assess where the squad is at. But the feelings haven't changed in the last week or so. I knew where we needed to strengthen in the summer, and I know where we need to strengthen January and next summer.
Can I just ask you about Matt O'Reilly? Our colleagues in Italy are suggesting that Inter Milan are looking at him, and a few other clubs are keen. Obviously, he's been very good this season. Is he one you fear you will struggle to retain?
No, I don't have any fear on any of the players. I think it's one. I'm delighted for Matt that he's made a fantastic step forward this season as a Celtic player and in his career. So that shows that that focus and mentality and the training and obviously the confidence he's taken into the game, he will always attract the interest of teams. So, but listen, I don't have any fear. He's a good guy. He works very, very hard, and when you do that and you do well, you're always going to have interest that will come your way. But for now, he's very much focused on performing for Celtic through until the break.
You'll be desperate to keep a hold of him, though, and all sort of key players and how close this title is becoming, and the running that comes. You want to keep a hold of as many key players as possible, I imagine. Yeah.
Listen, there's still such a long way to go. We were consistently, good, and in the last week or so in the league, we haven't been good enough. It's I can't be any more clear than that. So like I said, we want to add to the squad rather than take any away. But yeah, the likes of Matt is a very important player for us.
Club also confirming that the Green Brigade are going to be back for the match. Just how important is it to have that unity in the stands behind the team, driving the team forward?
Well, it's absolutely everything, but especially at a club like Celtic. Celtic is, for the years I've known Celtic, what makes Celtic tick is the support that they give the team, and because it's such an emotional connection. Celtic's history is littered with goals and late goals, and a big part of that is down to the fans and the whole stadium really getting behind the team, and that's what makes Celtic. And when you have the manager, the supporters, and the players all on the same page, then it's it's a really real force that we have in the game. So yeah, it hasn't been the atmosphere for a number of weeks, but like I said, that's the responsibility of everyone. But we know that when the atmosphere is white hot at Celtic, it's making it a really, really difficult place for teams to come and play, and also it gives the players that extra edge as well. So yeah, it's a great lesson for the guys to be back in. There's no doubt that they've given an ambience in that corner section that, as I said, the club gave them that opportunity to be the first club in Britain to have that safe standing area. So hopefully they can go back in tomorrow and support the team, and obviously their responsibility as well as the whole stadium to really get behind the team to help us get the result.
Do you feel you have missed that atmosphere in the last few weeks? You obviously dropped 5 points at home. It's unusual for that to happen. Has that been a factor, do you think?
I don't know if it's specifically them, but it's again, but we've still had 60,000 in there. So the responsibility is for everyone. I think firstly I always look at the team and what can we do as a team to provide the football that can excite the supporters, because that's what we always aim to do. But of course Celtic is based around that collective spirit in the stands, which really drives the team forward. But either way, I just think it's really good news. There's no point in looking at the past. Great news for them that they can get in and watch their team, because they want to support the team and support the club. Then you better be inside it and cheering us on, and hopefully then that brings us all together and we can now look forward for the rest of the season.
You spoke when you first came back that unity was everything. A club needs to be united to be successful. Is that something you've always tried to foster whatever club you've been at as well? Yeah,
well, it definitely is paramount for any club, any successful club, and especially a top club. Where the intensity is so high, and what makes a top club is when everyone's together. And that spirit, that collective fight, everyone together pushing forward.
Actually, obviously Dyson Maeda came back off the bench last week. Is he going to be a big player? And when you're talking about the energy and the desire to get him back in the side, maybe leading from the front, is that really important for him?
Yeah, he's obviously been fantastic in his time here, and maybe doesn't get the credit that he maybe deserves from when he was playing. But it's only sometimes when that player is out of the team you realise what is missed. But certainly from a coaching and managing perspective, we understand what he brings to the team, and his non-stop energy and running and the quality and what he brings will be great to have that back.
Actually, well, but Liel Abada, how close is he to getting back?
Yeah, well, he's out on the grass running and with the medical team, so it's not imminent, but he's certainly in a really, really good place, and hopefully at some time in the near future he'll be able to be back in with the squad.
Would it be an outside chance that he'd be fit for before the winter break now?
Haven't thought on it. Just it's a day by day thing. We just have to assess him as he goes along each day.
That's just the Super League that's been talked about. Obviously, the club came out in quite a firm stance on it. Just your thoughts on that, and what that sort of means for the landscape of European football coming forward, this European Super League.
To be honest, I haven't really seen a great deal on it. If I'm totally honest, I've seen some headlines on it, but I haven't listened into it. My feeling was back then that it's obviously the game in Britain is very much based around the fans. I know there's a commercial and economic element to it that clubs may want to push, but football is about the supporters, and I'm pretty sure what they will want, and I'm sure it'll be listened to again, hopefully.
Brendan, you talked about coming in and assessing things and being back at the club. That's now 6 months you've been back. So what are the key factors that you've identified that are needing improving, and when can we start to see those things being implemented?
Well, I think in terms of, I say it's observation as much as anything. Coming in and observing a new group, I'm fairly comfortable where we need to improve on, in order to get that dynamic of the team back to where I would want it to be. And I think consistency, of course, is an important factor of that. But I think the squad will need improving over these next couple of windows, and just certain profiles of within the team. And like I said, you can only do that at certain times. But overall, I've been delighted to be back here and working with this group, which is a different group to when I was here previously. But there's certainly elements of the team that we can be much better in.
We seem to, the game last week, we seemed to be struggling in particular in the wide positions. And I remember a game during your first time when we got a man sent off at Ibrox, you put two up front, turned the game, and we went on to win it. Is there supporters are actually talking about a need for a change of formation when teams seem to know exactly how to play against us at the moment?
Yeah, I think I'm not averse to that. I think you've seen already since I've come in a number of times we have changed structure and changed system and went with two players up. It's always dependent on, of course, on the opponent and where you can actually break through against teams. Like you say, you have a back five and a team that's sitting deep. You need to connect the game quicker. I think our biggest thing last weekend was the speed in our game. The tempo in our game was way too slow. If you see an action when we went 2-0 down, within those first few minutes, the speed of the game went to another level. But that has to be like that from the very first whistle, and that's the consistency I'm talking about. We've played games started with a real hunger and desire, and in other games it started too slowly. St Johnstone as an example. So I think it's I don't think it's so much to do structurally. I think that when you play against teams that are low on the field, you have to be quicker. You have to be more dynamic in your movements. Your speed of your movements, the speed of the ball, all these things. They all come together to hopefully tire out your opponent. So whether it's two up front or three up front, when you're playing with one up, two wide, you've got two advanced midfield players. You've virtually got five on the back line against a back five. So as opposed to having two strikers, you virtually have two wide players, two number 8s and a striker, which gives you five along the back line. And how we try to work at times is trying to make six on the back line by getting a full back up. It's then when you get there, it's about then that being decisive and that individual and combinational quality that can hopefully break through. So, but I still think there's certain things that when we don't have certain players playing that the team misses in terms of the dynamism, and that's purely profile as opposed to structure. So the idea is to improve that.
Okay. Is there any other team news at all, Brendan? Players coming in or out?
Yanks hopefully will be okay for the game. He'd been out obviously with his shoulder. Odin has been out. He's just returned in today. He'd been ill for a little while, so he won't take part. I wouldn't think tomorrow. We just need to assess him. But apart from Yang, I think we're pretty much the same squad.